The police in China, they don't carry guns. Yes, the police in China, they don't carry guns. But the ordinary Chinese people on the streets, in the communities, in the countryside, in the big cities, they are very friendly and welcoming. Father just came out from a room, and as soon as the father saw me as a foreigner, as a black person, this man was very furious. And this man attacked me. He actually attacked me. So the police checked on their system through a computer. I don't know how they did that. They were able to find out that the lady who was in the car after me took my phone. They told me to wait. In the next 30 minutes, they got back with my phone. There are other places around the world whereby my kind of people are not safe. You understand? My kind of people, like being a black person, your safety is always a concern when you go out of your home.
Thank you. All right.
Welcome back again to my channel, King Kwesi, coming all the way from China. Today is going to be another episode of Living in China series, but it's just going to be myself today. And today I want to share with you guys my view of China after living here for almost 10 years. Everything I'm going to say in this video is based on my personal experiences. And I want to say that I have not been paid to say some of these things, and whatever I say in this video doesn't represent the whole of black people in China or foreigners in China. Everything I'm saying in this video is based on my experiences living in this country for 10 years. Before we go into this video, I'll urge you to subscribe to the channel if you like this kind of content. Share the video, like, and let's grow the channel together. It's your favorite King Kwesi. So today I'm going to talk about 5 things I've viewed about life here in China. The first one I'm going to talk about is safety. Prior to my departure from Ghana coming to China in 2013, I thought China was not a good country in terms of security and safety, because the news, the narrative about China out there through the media that I used to watch, like, they were not showing much about China. So I thought China was not safe. All the news that I was watching about China wasn't something that encouraged me to take a trip to China. But based on my experiences here living in China for almost 10 years, I can say China is one of the safest places I've been to. I've traveled to countries like Russia, Thailand, Indonesia, Singapore, but I was just there for a tourist. But this is a place that I've lived my life here for almost 10 years, and I can say that it's one of the safest places on the planet right now. Sometimes I go out late in the night to the bar, and I'll get home very late. I've never had a reason to be so concerned about my safety in this country. My daughter was born here. We used to take trips to different cities in China. There were no times that we thought that our daughter was not safe here. So based on my experiences here, I would say that China is very safe. About 2 months ago, I lost my phone. The phone I'm using to record this video, I lost in the Didi. I'm in a Didi right now. This is a driver. Didi is just like an Uber service in other places. And I lost my phone. I forgot my phone. When I got off the car, I called the driver, and the driver said there was no phone in the Didi. And we called the Didi service. They talked to the driver. The driver still insisted there was no phone in the car. Not only the next passenger took my phone, but on that day I had my Apple Watch on, and the Apple Watch was able to track the place that my phone has traveled to in the last hour or so. So what I did was I made my Chinese friends, wrote the addresses of the place that my phone has traveled, and I went to the police station. I showed the police and told the police, you are the police and you can help me track my phone. Check the number of these 2 people, the passenger and the driver who drove me to my destination, and check and see which of them has been to all these 4 places. So the police checked on their system through a computer. I don't know how they did that. They were able to find out that the lady who was in the car after me took my phone. They told me to wait. In the next 30 minutes, they got back with my phone. China, I've interviewed a lot of foreigners about living in China series, and they all share their experiences talking about how safe this country is. So if you're outside China and you're thinking about the negative narrative about safety in China, I'm telling you that China is very safe. You don't have to be worried about your safety when you're in China, when you're traveling in China. This is just based on my experiences. There are other places around the world whereby my kind of people are not safe. You understand? My kind of people, like being a black person, your safety is always a concern when you go out of your home. But I've never had a reason to be so concerned about my safety, because even the police in China, they don't carry guns. Yes, the police in China, they don't carry guns. I've never seen a police officer in China with a gun before. You only see guns when there's this boulevard vans carrying money to the banks. That's when you see guns. But the ordinary police officer on the street of China goes out with no gun. So I have never had a reason to be concerned. No matter the confrontation, I've never been attacked. So when I talk about safety, I can tell that China is one of the safest places for foreigners to live and work. Number two, I'm going to talk about how convenient this country is. China is a country that is digitalized to the point that everything is on your phone. I mean, everything that you need in this country is on your phone. To book a car, to order food, I can literally stay in my home for a month without going out, and I can order basically everything that I need on my phone, and it shall be delivered on my doorsteps. This is how convenient this country is. When I'm traveling within China, I have so many options. So many options, and the cost of transport in China is very, very cheap. When I got to China, my second city was Yantai. Yantai is in the Shanghai province of China, and that's where my daughter was born. When I got there, buses, taking a bus from one place to another place, from one district to another district in Yantai, was 1 yuan. It's over 9 years. It's over 9 years that I've been in this country. Today's actually Sunday. I was in Yantai on Saturday, and I took a bus, and it's still 1 yuan. So the transportation, the convenience in this country is very, very great. You literally have everything on your phone. The country is digitalized in the form that money, you don't have to carry cash to make payments in China. There are so many services that you can use. You can use Alipay, you can use WeChat, and you can pay everything on your phone. I don't remember the last time I had cash in my hand. I don't remember the last time I held cash, actual cash in my hand in China. So convenience in this country is very great, and I'll give it 10 over 10 in China. If you want to purchase something online, there are so many options that you can use, just like we have the eBay, the Amazon in the US and other places. In China, we have the Taobao, we have Pinduoduo, we have JD, and these are services that are very great. You order within the next 2, 3, 5 days, depending on where you live, delivered to your address. This is based on my personal experiences, number 2. Now let's talk about number 3. Number 3, about racism and discrimination. As a black person, I want to be frank. This is a very controversial topic, but I want to be very frank and say this based on my experiences here. When I go to China, almost like 10 years ago, you go to places, there were times that you go to places that people don't want to get close to you. I don't know why they were doing that, but things have really changed over time. I remember my early years in China, you get on the bus and nobody want to sit beside you. That you get on the bus and there's a whole seat that's empty, but nobody want to sit beside you. There were times that you go sit beside someone and the person just get up from the seat and just go stand. There's this story that I shared when I interviewed one of the foreigners here in China. It was Chinese New Year, I think somewhere around 2017. Yes, somewhere around 2017, Yantai. I was invited by my Chinese friend to come home for a meal. It was the Chinese New Year. I don't know whether the lady didn't inform the parents that she was bringing a black guy home for the Chinese New Year meal. So I got there and this lady introduced me to the brother and the other people. They were cool. Within a minute or two, the father just came out from a room, and as soon as the father saw me as a foreigner, as a black person, this man was very furious, and this man attacked me. He actually attacked me, so I had to leave the place and just go straight to my apartment. We live in the same community in Yantai. Lady was very apologetic and she kept on saying she's very sorry for what happened. We didn't know why the father did so, but I think the father did so because I was a black person, I was a foreigner, and the father didn't think that it was safe for her daughter to move with a black person. You understand? So there were times, there are job description that they'll put and tell you only for Europeans, like only for Europeans and native speakers. And I always tell people in China, if you're from Africa and you live in China and you are here to work, it's very, very difficult. It's very difficult for Africans, and I put this in category. It's very difficult for black people in China, but it's okay for you if you're a black person of America. You know, you get to enjoy a lot. You get to enjoy a lot because you are considered as a native speaker, so it's okay. If you're from Africa and you're from South Africa, it's also good because you're also considered as a native speaker. But if you're from Africa, and you're not from any of these countries that I've mentioned, or you don't hold a passport to the UK, Canada, and other places, and you're from Ghana and Nigeria and other places in Africa, it's also quite difficult for you to navigate around here, especially when you want to work here, because your official language in Ghana, whatever, Zambia, Nigeria is English. They don't consider you as a native speaker, so it's also very difficult for recruiters to recruit you to get a teaching job in China. That is very clear. 6-7 years ago, there was a whole advert of a black guy who did an advert for a company, a detergent company, and this guy was put in a machine. He was put in the machine, and when he came out as a Chinese, basically telling us that our skin as black people are so dirty that we need to go into a washing machine to wash ourselves of the dirt and come out as white. So some of these things has really happened in China, but I will just give a big shout out to some people that are really changing the narrative in China when it comes to the relationship of black people in China. And I'll say this to this beautiful lady called Rose, who is from Uganda, married to a Chinese, and she shares her everyday life in the countryside in China. And this girl's platform is really changing the narrative. There's another black guy, there's another African, my brother from Ghana, called Fair Tommy. On YouTube, he's also doing an amazing job walking around, sharing his experiences. And just like I also do here in China, sharing my experiences. My daughter was born here, and my daughter was in the Chinese kindergarten. You know, she had an amazing time going to a Chinese kindergarten, getting in tune with the Chinese culture. So some of these things are really improved over time. But when I got here many years ago, like when I got here about 10 years ago, things were very tough, you know, for black people or for my kind of people. So that's number 3. I'm gonna talk about is China really anti-foreigners? Are China against foreigners? Are Chinese friendly people? The ordinary Chinese person is very friendly, and I will not dispute this fact that these are very warm, welcoming people. China is the place that you go to a bar, and because you're a foreigner, somebody walk up to you with a bottle. Yes, somebody just walk up to you with a bottle and just, Gambe, let's drink, just because you're a foreigner. When they meet you for the first time, the first thing they're gonna say, where are you from? You know, they are always curious. They just want to start a conversation with you. So if I want to say that China as a country are friendly, then yes, I'm right to say that. The ordinary Chinese person is very friendly, is very welcoming, and always open to welcome foreigners to their country. My daughter was born here. I always make reference to my daughter when she was born here. She was born in a country that our parents, our family were not here, but we had Chinese people that were there for us. Our landlady at that time, Jane, in Yantai, wherever you are, I want to say thank you so much. This lady and the whole family were very supportive. You know, they were very supportive. Though we were paying her money, the money she charged us to take care of Blessy when she was a little girl were just little as compared to how much other people were paying in other cities for nannies. I would say that this lady literally just took care of Blessy for free. You understand? And my former boss in Yenta, Rebecca, because Blessy was different, this woman created an environment for Blessy to feel at home. You know, she gave us discount for Blessy to be in the school. Some of these things really goes a long way to show how friendly and welcoming Chinese people are. If you want to come to China, I will urge you to come. Just come here and experience the people. If you experience the people, you make a decision for yourself whether this country is against foreigners or not. Though every country put in laws just to protect its environment, citizens, and the ordinary people, which I think is very true in every country, and China is not an exception. China is doing the same. But the ordinary Chinese people on the streets, in the communities, in the countryside, in the big cities, they are very friendly and welcoming. The last thing I'm going to talk about is the pace of development that I've seen in China. Sometimes I don't really understand how they do this. I'm coming from Ghana, and in Ghana, sometimes major infrastructure development takes so much time to be completed. But in China, I'm just going to talk about Yantai because Yantai is a place that I've lived my life here. When I moved to Yantai, Yantai is just a small city in Shandong. There was only one railway station, and this railway station was connected by slow train. Within my time in Yantai, Yantai has built a new railway station. And this railway station connects other cities by high-speed train. Apart from this station, Yantai also built a new airport. A new airport, completely new from the previous one, which was way smaller because I learned that one was for the military. So they had to find a new place and build a new international airport for Yantai. Apart from this airport and railway station, I've seen new shopping mall like Joy City being built. I saw Joy City being built from the scratch. I also saw Wanda Plaza building a whole community and a whole shopping complex for the entire city. Sometimes some of these things really amazes me how they do this as people. But I understand because their governance system is different from where I come from. In Ghana, every 4 years or every 4 years, we go to the polls and vote for new leadership. Sometimes there's a change of government every 8 years. And this really impedes development in our country. Apart from the pace of development, I want to talk about this very quick. It's also the diversity of China as a country. When I was coming to China, I thought China as a country was just one group of people. When I realized China is made up of different ethnic groups. I live in Weihai. There's a Weihai dialect, which is different from that of Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou. Apart from the dialect, they have their local cuisine, which is unique. So every place in China that you go, the people are unique and they have a different lifestyle that's different from other provinces. The diversity of the people also transcends to the land. You know, you can have every kind of country in China. I call China as a country that is made up of different countries. For example, you can have the desert lifestyle of those in the Dubai in China. Yes, if you want to experience desert, there's desert in China. Apart from that, if you want the sandy beaches, white beaches, you go to Sanya. If you want to see the beautiful mountains, you go to the Avatar Mountains. The beautiful Avatar Mountains is also right here in China. You know the popular Avatar movie? The mountains are right here in China. China as a country is diverse in different forms. So this is my experiences, my daily experience living in China for almost 10 years as an African. Before we go, I want to say thank you so much for sticking around and watching this video. Thank you. Peace out. See you in the next one.